Have you ever felt lost when someone uses an English idiom? Well, you're not alone. Mastering these common expressions can be a real challenge for English learners. But don't worry, today we're going to dive into the meaning and usage of the idiom "look before you leap." Let me share a funny story about a time when someone misunderstood this idiom. My friend, Sarah, was planning a surprise party for her roommate's birthday. She told her roommate, "Don't worry, I'm going to look before I leap and make sure everything is perfect." Confused, her roommate replied, "What do you mean? Are you actually going to look at a leap before you jump?" Poor Sarah had to explain that "look before you leap" is an idiom. That means to carefully consider the consequences before taking action. Now that we understand the misunderstanding, let's look at the correct meaning of this idiom. Look before you leap advises us to think things through and plan ahead before making a decision or taking a big step. It's all about being cautious and considering the potential risks or outcomes before committing to something. Here are some examples of how you can use "look before you leap" in different contexts. In a casual conversation, "I know you're excited about that new job. But make sure to look before you leap and consider all the pros and cons." In a formal setting, "Before we invest in this new project, we need to look before we leap and thoroughly analyze the potential risks and rewards." In a negative context, "Don't be so impulsive. You need to look before you leap and think about the consequences of your actions." In a humorous context, "I'm going to look before I leap and make sure there's no hidden camera before I do this silly dance move." In a literary context, the young adventurer, filled with excitement, leapt without looking, only to find himself in a precarious situation. In a business setting, before we expand into a new market, we must look before we leap and conduct thorough market research. On social media, "I know you're eager to share that big news. But remember to look before you leap and make sure it's appropriate to post." A great way to remember the meaning of "look before you leap" is to imagine a person standing on the edge of a cliff, carefully examining the terrain before deciding to jump. This visual representation helps reinforce the idea of cautious consideration before taking action. Now, let's explore some fun facts about this idiom. The origins of "look before you leap" can be traced back to the 16th century, with similar expressions found in ancient Greek and Latin literature. This idiom reflects the cultural value of prudence and foresight, which are highly regarded in many societies. While "look before you leap" is used in both North America and the UK, a similar saying, often used in specific contexts like carpentry or sewing, is "measure twice, cut once." Here are some similar and opposite idioms to "look before you leap." Similar, "think twice, measure twice, cut once, weigh your options." Opposite, "act in haste, repent at leisure, jump the gun, dive in headfirst." Let's say you wanted to use "look before you leap" in a sentence, but you wanted to rephrase it without the idiom. You could say, "Before deciding to quit your job, make sure to carefully consider the potential consequences and impacts on your life." I recently witnessed a great example of someone using "look before you leap" in a real-life situation. My friend, Alex, was considering a major career change. He spent weeks researching the industry, talking to professionals, and weighing the pros and cons before making the leap. His cautious approach paid off, and he was able to transition smoothly into his new role. Now, let's address some common mistakes and how to avoid them when using the idiom "look before you leap." Grammatical mistake, saying "I'm going to look before I leap" instead of "I'm going to look before I leap." Remember, the idiom uses the base form "look" and "leap," which often functions similarly to the imperative mood, giving advice. Misunderstanding the meaning. Some people may think look before you leap means to literally look at the thing you're about to jump over. Like in the story I shared earlier. To avoid this, focus on the figurative meaning of carefully considering the consequences before taking action. Inappropriate context, using look before you leap in a situation where it doesn't quite fit. Like saying it to someone who is already in the middle of a crisis. Pay attention to the context and use the idiom when it's relevant to the situation at hand. Let's test your understanding with a few quiz questions. 1. What is the meaning of the idiom look before you leap? A. Literally look at the thing you're about to jump over. B. Carefully consider the consequences before taking action. C. Jump into a situation without any preparation. 2. Which of the following is a synonymous expression to look before you leap? A. Act in haste, repent at leisure. B. Measure twice, cut once. C. Jump the gun. 3. Which of the following is an antonymous expression to look before you leap? A. Think twice. B. Dive in headfirst. C. Weigh your options. In summary, look before you leap is a valuable idiom that encourages us to carefully consider the potential consequences before taking action. Understanding and using this idiom can help improve your communication skills and make you a more thoughtful decision maker. Now it's your turn. Share a sentence using the idiom look before you leap in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more engaging English idiom lessons.